Remember the good old days when racism and segregation were bad? The London production of a hit US theatre show called Slave Play will hold two so-called blackout performances exclusively for an all-black identifying audience. Set on a plantation in the old American South, the award-winning play explores race, identity and sexuality. Well, I'll be honest, I look forward to seeing the show on one of the nights when maybe I'm actually allowed to go. How many mental gymnastics do you have to go through to reach the conclusion that segregating people based upon the colour of their skin is somehow the best way to tackle racism? I would humbly suggest it's like tackling a forest fire with unleaded petrol. Now, clearly there are people of ethnic backgrounds who do not participate enough in live theatre, and this highly regarded show, which tackles the hellish crime and dark legacy of slavery, should be watched and enjoyed by as wide an audience as possible. But the optics of an invitation to just one group of people based upon the pigmentation of their skin to anyone with half a brain is divisive, deranged and potentially dangerous. How does racism fix racism? How does the return of apartheid, which is what this policy effectively amounts to, help people of colour? After decades of progress in the West, much of this looks to be under threat or could even be reversed, with the idea that people of colour are somehow tragic victims who need to be among their own, whatever that means, in order to enjoy a show. And how do you define black? What about mixed race people? Asian people, South American people? It makes no sense. Now, defenders of the policy have talked about how unsafe theatres are for some groups. Unsafe? Do me a favour. Firstly, it's wildly patronising and therefore potentially racist to say that theatres are unsafe for certain groups. And also, theatres are only unsafe if you're sat next to someone who's endlessly coughing, getting up to go to the loo all the time, or spilling their Haagen-Dazs salted caramel ice cream on your lap. Otherwise, theatres are not unsafe. And these performances are apparently there to help patrons avoid what's been called the white gaze. This is progress, is it? Demonising groups based upon immutable characteristics? It's like Martin Luther King never happened. Let's not forget, this man is the hero who said that we should be judged on the content of our character, not the colour of our skin. Well, he'd probably be cancelled in 2024 for his wise words and his desire to bring humanity together. Black lives matter, which is why, in my view, people of colour shouldn't be treated like children or victims and be pushed into cultural silos. Here's an idea. Why don't we try to get everyone to go to the theatre? Lower ticket prices, have better marketing of shows across all communities, including to ethnic groups, and have school trips. I agree with The Guardian, who wrote about that this weekend. Theatre is crushingly middle class and should be for all. So maybe all communities could go to the theatre together and learn together and have a good time together. All classes, all races, all religions, all backgrounds. This exclusionary stuff is divisive and wrong, and probably illegal if enforced very literally. This policy to effectively shut certain people out of performances is a pantomime, a farce, and theatre of the absurd. This 5-star show gets only 1 star for common sense. Now, the theatre have made it clear that if you are a white person, for example, or don't identify as black, you can go to the show. You won't be stopped from purchasing a ticket. But the invitation is focused on an audience of colour. But I think it's divisive. I think it's a mistake. But if you back the policy, do let me know. Mark@gbnews.com.